Welcome to Feminine Sexual Healing. If you're an intelligent woman who's interested in the leading edge of personal growth, tune in to this podcast to learn how to attract healthy, fulfilling relationships, how to have more passion, health, and vitality than ever before, and how to receive incredible abundance in your life through the power of sexual healing. I'm your host, Amrita Grace, and I'm the award-winning, best-selling author of Reclaiming Aphrodite, The Journey to Sexual Wholeness. Feeling is healing. What exactly does that mean? You know how we're taught as kids to hush or to not cry or to in some way not feel? Can you imagine how that carries into our adult lives and into our relationships? What actually happens is all those feelings just get stuffed into our bodies and they remain there unfelt. And honestly, that's not really very good for our health. So feeling is healing. Let's examine this a little more carefully. I'd like to share a story about how this has impacted me, especially just very, very recently, and how I learned from it, even in my own experience. Because of course, like most kids, I was also taught not to feel, not to display my feelings, not to be emotional, especially being a girl. Boy, does that stuff build up. And we just don't get good habits around how to process our feelings. So as adults, we really don't know how. But one of the things that I've learned through my journey of sexual healing is the importance of embodiment. And that really means just fully occupying my body, using my breath, using my imagination, and using my awareness to feel myself filling up my entire body all the way down to my feet. And when that happens, one begins to feel things that have been stored. One begins to experience the emotions that weren't experienced the first time around. It can be very disconcerting. So what we need to do is learn how to feel those feelings as they emerge so that we can heal and release those feelings for good. Now, sometimes that means layers, and that's okay. But it really beats the heck out of stuffing them into our bodies, which really eventually does lead to suffering. So here's my story about this. I got kind of a double whammy a couple of days ago. Two people I care a lot about looked like they were going to both make an exit from my life at the same time. And I was plunged into the depths of grieving. And when I recognized that for what it was, that it was grief, that I was sad, and that I was starting to feel very intensely the loss of these two people, what I did is instead of pushing it away from myself, I went all the way in. And this is what I call diving into the underworld. The underworld being the place where our intense, powerful, quote unquote, negative feelings are really alive. And this is such a rich place that if we're willing to go there and really be with our feelings, that there's an opportunity to emerge out the other side with incredible insights. So I took that dive. It just so happened it was on a Friday, and I had been working way too many days in a row. So I basically just turned away from my work, turned away from my office, and I felt the sadness, I felt the grief, and I felt the depths of my despair because it brought up a lot of other things for me, a lot of other things around my business and a lot of other things around my future, especially the future of my business. And it had me questioning everything. Am I doing what I should be doing? I really allowed myself to go all the way into the depths of, am I even doing my sacred work here? It was big. And I just followed that thread all the way into the depths of myself, into the depths of the underworld. And within about 48 hours, it started to shift. I even shared something on Facebook about it. I posted that I was grieving, and I didn't say why. And so much support came rushing towards me. So many, many, many people commented or liked or loved or shared tears with me. And I just let myself receive that. It was beautiful to witness. And I breathed and I stayed in my body and I felt everything that I felt, everything that was coming up. So as it started to lift and clear, what I would call my emergence from the underworld, I started to have insights that were really powerful about the ways in which everything that had happened was in perfect divine order and that was totally in service to what needed to happen. And I started to feel gratitude. I started to feel relief, even. I started to feel happy. And I really feel like that I was able to get to those feelings, not through bypassing what would be called spiritual bypass, by saying, oh, everything's good, it's all good, but by really diving into the depths of those feelings and feeling them fully. What a gift that we give ourselves when we feel our feelings fully, instead of stuffing them away. Now, I realize that there may be some areas or places, workplace, things like that, where it's not appropriate to just take a dive into the underworld. And that's okay. But as soon as you have the opportunity, go for it. As soon as you're off work and in your car, or as soon as you get home and can go into your room and shut the door, whatever you need, take the time to feel. You don't even need to have a story about it. Feel what you feel. And this leads to incredible healing. So sometimes the feelings are strong, they're old, and they take a little longer to work through. So that's what I call letting the feelings release in layers. And with each layer, some component of that big thing that you've been carrying for probably a very long time lifts and goes away. And layer by layer, eventually you get down to the bottom of it. And you don't need to feel anything around it anymore, as long as you're willing to commit to feeling it fully. What I found is that if I'm willing to take the deep dive as soon as a feeling comes up, especially these negative feelings like sadness and grieving and anger, if I'm really willing to be with that and allow myself to feel it and allow my body to move in ways that can help move the feelings, then I get through it so fast. And it's really amazing how it frees me up. It actually frees me of that feeling. It's incredible the gifts that can be had on the other side of it. So this is something that I've learned gradually over the years, but I really connect it to the work that I've done around sexual healing, because that has taught me how to be all the way in my body. It's taught me how to use my breath as a powerful healing tool, as we all can, and to let my breath through my awareness move all the way through my body and pick up energies that no longer need to be there, that can be released as I exhale. You can do this too. It really just takes a moment of awareness and closing your eyes, if at all possible, to close off the visual field and the visual stimulation. Let's do it together right now. If you can't close your eyes, don't, but if you can, do, and let's take a breath. And feel that breath going all the way through your body, out the tips of your fingers and down to your toes. And slow it down. And if you just take a couple of minutes to do this each day or anytime you think about it, you have the opportunity to start to access things that are stored in your body that are ready to go. And if you're willing to commit to that process, you've got this incredible method for self-healing. You're going to take yourself on a journey of healing yourself. It's not really that hard. It certainly doesn't take a huge amount of time. It doesn't cost anything except your time and attention. But the benefits that it brings are huge, gigantic, enormous. So I invite you to feel. Feel so that you can heal. And I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, especially if you've been stashing and storing your feelings for your entire life. One step at a time. And remember, it doesn't need to have a story. Whatever you feel, just feel it. You don't need to say, oh, it's because of this or because of that, because that is your mind. That's your mind, your ego making up a story. It doesn't need to be about a story. Just feel the feelings. Use your breath. Slow and deepen your breath. Take some quiet time. Close your eyes, if at all possible, and really feel. Because really what it works out to is emotions are like waves. It's not like that once you feel the emotion, you're going to stay in it forever. It just doesn't work that way. Emotions are like waves. They crest, they peak, they crash, and then they recede. So if you just let yourself feel and ride the wave, then you have a real opportunity for healing. So I hope that you have found this simple little process helpful. And just remember this easy rhyme: feeling is healing. Feeling is healing. And as long as you're willing to feel, you're going to help yourself heal. Thanks for being with me, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for listening. Please visit our website at sacredfeminineschool.com for lots of great resources and information about how to enjoy a lifetime of passion, vitality, and fulfilling relationships. Be sure to subscribe to Feminine Sexual Healing with Amrita Grace to get notified of new episodes. Until next time, remember that sexual healing is the fast track to feminine power and embodiment.